We are not in a war of flesh and blood. We are in a war of angels and demons, a spiritual war. So that is what's actually happening right now. We are really shifting through it. In different religions, it's called so many different things. I like to call it the apocalypse just because that's fun to say. And realize that you're a badass because you're here. You chose to be here at this point in time. And in this video, we're going to talk about sovereignty, standing in your sovereignty, what is actually going on right now, the fighting, the craziness. So stay tuned. Okay, so right now, as you well know, there's a lot of fighting going on about who's getting what, who's not getting it, why everybody's doing what they're doing. So this is all I need to say on that. No matter what, everyone is just doing what they think is best. Okay, so I know I've said that before, but it's very, very important to, of course, before I even start this, I have my own perspective. As everybody does, because if we didn't have our own perspectives, then we would just be robots, right? There would be no point in being here because we would all feel the same way, and respecting others' decisions is the best way to go about things. And that is what we are learning in this shift, going from 3D to 5D. It's about perspective, okay? So just because somebody felt one way at the beginning or years ago does not necessarily mean that that is still the way they feel. And that's because there's different information coming out, and they're getting a different perspective on things. There's some new information, and that changes everybody's thought process. So maybe right now, and I know that we have talked about how systems are falling, and that's actually an exciting thing. But while it is falling, it is because we need to see during the shift, we need to see the bad that is that has been happening, the evil that has been happening, in order to shift it, right? Because otherwise, why would you want to make a change? What's the point? So even though I like to be all love and light and everything. I try to do the whole, what you think about, you bring about, which is very true. However, in order to make that change in your perspective on what you want to manifest, you also have to see the negative aspects, which is also in when you're doing an awakening process, when you're going through an awakening process, it is called the dark night of the soul. So there's a lot of shadow work. I'm sure you've heard that before. Shadow work is all of your negative energy kind of that you've suppressed over the years being built back up, and you're purging it, right? You're projecting that onto the world. And so as you project, there's going to be, because you have mirrors of yourself all around you, there are going to be people that come into your life or are in your life, some that have been in your life for a very long time, that are going to show you that intensity. And so this is why you lose a lot of friendships. You see that the aspects of yourself that you have not necessarily been excited about, that you've not necessarily liked. And it doesn't come in the way or form that you think. So I have lost a couple of really, really good friends. And it not necessarily that it's always going to be that way, but for right now, there's just a little bit of space that we need to have. And I've had to put my foot down to assert some boundaries. And that's pretty intense in itself. And realizing that those aspects of the things that they're projecting, or that I'm projecting really onto them, and they're mirroring onto me, are not the funnest things. Those are things that I do not like. And so having to really sit down and go through that, and really understand why I don't like that, and what piece of that is within me, has been really mind-blowing, to say the least, and not always in a good way. However, these are the things that the entire collective is going through right now. And there's going to be a lot of people that exit the planet. And that's because we are building up so much energy so quickly. We are shifting, right? We're ascending. You've heard that before. That it sometimes is really, it hurts. And if you can imagine, if you're way down at the bottom of the sea, and then you just come back up, you shoot back up really fast, you can really get injured. And the same thing when you are in an airplane. That's why there's like pressurization, right? If you go up too fast, you kind of can get hurt, and things kind of start to not feel so well. And that is how they are coming up, so that you can purge them as well. So the intensity that is happening right now with this whole one side or not, one side or not, does that make any sense? You know what I mean? One-sided, I should say. That's that's also something that we all need to look at as a collective, because that is going to shift us into our manifestation, number one, on what we want to manifest, and our realization on how we have not been told the correct information. Maybe we have not, that information has been completely suppressed, which is really a lot of what's happening. I do know that. And there's all these perspectives on how you should do things. Now, if you go to my Telegram channel, which is linked down below, I have a ton of information on things that maybe you won't agree with, and things that I definitely can't talk about on my channel. And it's really a compilation of a lot of information that I can put in one spot. So that's just really a place that you are welcome to go to start your journey through your researching, and realizing that the mainstream media and the mainstream social platforms are definitely hiding some things, and they are not telling you the correct information, because they are trying to maneuver their outcome to be the outcome. Sometimes I don't make any sense. Anyway, you know what I mean. But this is something that's happened for years. So standing in our sovereignty is really the important thing that we need to do at this point. And our sovereignty needs to be one of, in my perspective, I suppose, should be one of what is best for my family is what I'm going to choose. Okay. And what is best for your family might be completely different. But if we get on this whole, into this whole realm of, you know what, you're going to do what I tell you to do, or you're not correct and you're going to be punished for it, we could go down years of rabbit holes and see the outcomes of what has happened there. Now, right now, this is a bigger shift. And so right now, all of these old things, as I was saying, are coming up in order for us to purge it. So it does seem like we're going through the same things as we had before in the past, our old history. And really, it's because we are going to have to shift it in a different way this time. So being respectful and loving to other people sometimes is really hard to do. Sometimes it's even hard for me to do. And that's just because of the intensity right now. So sending you all the love, sending you all of the good vibes and wholeness and vibrations, and knowing that you can make your own decisions. However, like I said, shifting from a 3D perspective to a 5D perspective, we have to realize that some of the information has been suppressed on the outcomes of the elites and how they want to do things. So taking all of the information, good or bad, and then making a well-informed decision is probably the better way to do it. So if you don't agree with some of the things that I say, totally fine. You are not a robot, and neither am I. And that is why we are coming together as a collective to shift all of this. And it's exciting, but it's going to get more intense. That's, I sometimes hate having to come on here and tell you guys that, but the outcome in all of these different religions that I have studied for a very long time, since I was a child, it seems to me that, in my perspective, that the light wins, and we are all light. And so I know the outcome. I'm not worried about that part. The part that I hate is having to trudge through all this crap and fight with people that I don't necessarily want to fight with, but being able to stand in my own sovereignty. And that's the important part of this. So sending you love. I will see you on the next video.